I have one of those plastic tubes. They look like a vacuum, but it like sprays up like steam.
Oh, the
steamer.
Oh, is that steamer?
Yeah. My name is Tabassum, I'm the project manager, and this is Ariana, and this is David. David's working on the ARIMA model, and Ariana's working on the neural network, and you guys want to tell them about your partners?
Sure, yeah, I'm working with Chris.
And I'm working with Braulio and Cheyenne.
We're doing a project with KGH, and we're working with data from internal medicine and specifically relating to their bed occupancy. So right now they have a problem where they aren't really equipped to deal with surges in their bed occupancy or any slack. So what that does is that for people who are in the emergency room or people that are coming from surgery, if there isn't a bed available in internal medicine, that they have to wait for that bed. So by having the ARIMA model and the neural network, we can predict exactly when there's going to be a surge and when or what percent of beds are available. So it can help with their staffing plans, and it kind of helps to ease the flow of patients through the hospital.
Sure, yeah. So the goal of the ARIMA part of the model is that we want to have a really accurate day-to-day prediction, which means that like every day that passes, you'll enter new data, and then that data will be retrained with the system. And so with the ARIMA model, we've achieved some really good day-to-day results for predictions, and we hope to use ARIMA along with the neural network to make accurate monthly predictions.
Yeah, so we're actually thinking about using it as a kind of hybrid combination with the neural net and the ARIMA, so that we have accurate forecasting ability well into the year. So right now, forecasting typically 7 to 14 days is where the accuracy kind of starts to fade a little bit, but for staffing purposes, you want to make sure that you know what the surges are going to be like on average a few months later, so that you can staff appropriately in the beginning.
For the neural network, right now we have binned our data, which means like categorizing it or like separating it by different criteria that would cause the data to like perform in a specific way. We are right now writing pseudocode and trying to get a better estimation, a better prediction, because the ARIMA model is doing really well, and so far our model is not trained enough for it to predict the future bed count. Basically, when you get a lot of hospital data, it's very private in a way. And also you don't get a lot of information because it's from the local hospital. So all we are given are dates, medicine number, and discharge and admission times.
Yeah.
So what we just figured out are we just met with the doctor we were working with at KGH, and we learned how to properly bin our data because we understood the meaning of the different medicines and how to interpret the admissions and discharges, because there were specific spikes, but that was because of a specific pattern the hospital was following. In addition, we have read a bunch of papers, and not all of us are fluent in Python, I'd say. So we also have been using the deep learning in Python book and have read through, all of us have gone through the first 2 chapters and are continuing to go through it to better understand.
So I knew nothing going into this. I know zero. I'm a commerce student, so I took SIS 101 last year and I dropped out because it got really hard. And also the professor wasn't that fantastic. So this, for me, the learning curve has been like, just like a check mark. Yeah, so every day is I'm learning something new from these guys, and every meeting I'm learning a new word that I have to go Google immediately afterwards. Sometimes as they're talking about things, I have to Google them. So learning curve's been huge, but I'm sure it has for you guys too.
Yeah. I'd say the best part about it is that like we all come from different backgrounds, so it's nice because everyone has a different skill that they can teach you. So like we have like Braulio is a master's student in physics, and he's really, really good at coding, really good. Whereas like I have coded before, but I'm not as fluent in code, I'd say. But it's really nice to have his help and to know that he's always there to like reach out and like give me resources.
For me, it was also a big learning curve. I also took 101, I also took 121, but I was coming in from a biology background, so I still wasn't that fluent in coding either. Thankfully, the ARIMA model is pretty simple compared to the neural nets. So we were able to just model our code against one that we found online because the data that we have is very similar to that data set that they used in the tutorial I found online. So in terms of the ARIMA model, it wasn't that difficult, but definitely the neural net's a lot harder to learn.
Just because we work on different groups doesn't mean we're not helping each other on the same project. Like, I will ask them for help and they'll ask us for help. So it's like we are working together. It's just that since we weren't given our data necessarily like at the beginning of the year, that we can work on both projects together. At the beginning of the year, it was a bit awkward, I'd say. I feel like when you meet someone new, it's a little bit awkward because you don't know them. But we had sushi all together. Then we also went swing dancing as a team. It was very fun. Basically, we have had a lot of team bonding opportunities, but it's not like, it's kind of been like out of the blue that this has come up. It's not like planned or stuff like that, which is kind of nice because it's like we all want to hang out with each other and we're not forcing ourselves to hang out with each other. And I really like my teammates, as you can tell.
That was exclusively for me. David, that was not for you. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I really like them.
Is that the final take? Like we're using? Oh.
Great.